1 Peter chapter 5, lesson 17. Elected Assembly Stewardship. Just a quick word about the illustration on this page. All these job descriptions on the chart above are speaking about the same person, just as the president is the commander-in-chief of the military, the chief of state, the chief executive, the chief legislator, the occupier of the bully pulpit, the chief civil servant, etc. The person usually called pastor is all of the above. Different descriptive names for the different functions of the same elected civil servant. Can you imagine the confusion and damage that would be done if we multiplied the number of people holding the same office, each doing one of the president's jobs? It would be worse chaos than one man can create. That is what the Catholic Church did, and many Reformed churches have done the same, putting bishops over many churches, making a difference between elders and bishops. Let us read these first 4 verses of 1 Peter chapter 5. The elders which are among you I exhort, as an elder together with you, and a witness of the sufferings of Christ, and a sharer of the glory that shall be revealed. Shepherd, pasture, the flock of God, which is among you, taking the oversight thereof, not by constraint, but willingly, not for dishonest gain, but enthusiastically, neither as being lords over your portion of the flock, but being rather examples of the flock. And when the chief shepherd appears, you will receive an unfading crown of glory. Now we will go through it again with explanations. The elders, leaders of the synagogue, older and respected members, the president, the leaders of the Jewish and Christian congregations, which are among you, I exhort, as an elder, senior and leader of a Christian synagogue at large, assembly planter, together with you, and a witness of the sufferings of Christ, and a sharer of the glory that shall be revealed. Shepherd, the function is pasture, and descriptive name is pasturer, the flock of God which is among you. Obey the command Jesus gave me, feed the flock, if you love him. Taking the oversight, bishopric, organizational duties for the assembly of believers. Therefore, in all these functions do it, not by constraint, as a duty, obligation, or job, but willingly, not for dishonest gain, but enthusiastically, that is, thinking it is the greatest privilege and joy to serve your master. Neither as being lords over your portion of the flock, leading, not beating them, remembering Paul's instruction in 2 Timothy 4, which said, Preach the word, be instant in season, out of season, reprove, rebuke, exhort with all long-suffering and doctrine. He did not suggest any whips or dogs, but being rather examples of the flock, the good shepherd of his sheep, he walked before them and led them with his voice. And when the chief shepherd, pasture, feeder of the sheep, appears, you will receive an unfading crown of glory, because if you do your job right, you will receive little glory down here. These 4 short verses use 3 of the names various churches use to speak of their leadership. Some make distinctions between them, Catholics and Anglicans, and others make bishops a higher position than pastor. Some, like Bible churches, often make pastors or shepherds and elders different, with multiple elders functioning like the deacons in some disorderly Baptist churches as a board of directors. In some churches, the minister is considered as the higher position in the local church, and different from the other ministers or servants who go under the transliterated name of deacons. The word just means servant, and both pastors, shepherds, and elected servants, deacons, serve in much the same way. Peter did not use the name preacher, but he did mention preachers when he told the elders, bishops, and ministers how they should preach, quote, not by constraint, coercion, browbeating, lording over the flock, but willingly, enthusiastically. The elder is the Jewish name for this person in the synagogue. The early Christian assemblies were called Christian synagogues, or as the Greek word means, come together, which is an assembly. You might be wondering why I am spending so much time on this church politics topic. It is because it is so important. This has been the underlying cause of all church persecution. An estimated 50 million were tortured and killed in the worst ways just between 400 AD and 1500 AD. Between 1500 and the American Revolution, the killing between competing churches became an epidemic. Who would control power in the church drove religiously greedy men to kill others for God. John chapter 16, verse 1, Jesus said, "These things have I spoken to you, so that you may not be made to stumble. They will make you to be expelled from the Jewish assemblies. But the hour is coming that everyone killing you will think that he is offering a service to God. And these things they will do to you because they did not know the Father nor me." The Baptist assemblies are the only assemblies who never persecuted, because each Baptist assembly was independent. All the others tried to be one big controlling church, and power and position motivated them. No little Baptist church had the power to persecute, because they followed the scriptural meaning of the Greek word ekklesia, and were many little independent and autonomous assemblies or congregations, just as the apostles started. Jesus said persecution would define the true synagogue and the false church who rides upon the beast of Revelation. Elder, mizon, old or honored, greater or greatest person, and bishop, episkopos, overseer. Let's just consider these two descriptive names, which are not the names of offices or officers, but stewards and servants. The first is the Jewish words for elder. They are the two Jewish words used for the president or leaders of the Jewish and Christian synagogues. They were generally the older and more respected members of the synagogue, which in the Greek means come together or assembly. The second word, used predominantly by the Gentile congregations and assemblies, was that of episkopos. Its meaning is an overseer or administrator, and because it means the boss, it was often elevated over those who were just shepherds or pastors feeding the flock. The Greek word sunagi, meaning gather together, was used by the Jews and early Christians for their assemblies, and the Greek word ekklesia, meaning the Greek town meeting, which was used by Jesus and Gentile Christians. Both use the Jewish elder and the Greek overseer as titles for the same position. Only the overseer is given a list of qualifications in 1 Timothy 3 for the stewardship of the assembly, because they were one in the same person, or stewardship, an elected position, and not two different jobs. President, Commander-in-Chief, Head of State, Chief Executive, Chief Administrator, Chief Diplomat, Chief Legal Officer, etc. These are all jobs or functions of the U.S. President. Would one then think we have that many different positions or offices? No. We understand them to be titles or functions of the same person. Senior, elder, assembly leader, president, overseeing the activities of the gathered together, the Christian synagogue, or the assembly of the way. There were often more than one elder, overseer, but they functioned together as modern deacons do. They were not a board, because neither the elders, bishops, shepherds, pastors, head deacon, head servant, minister, waiter, preacher, nor the elected servants, deacons, rule. But they lead, serve the flock of royal priests, who chose and elected them. The government resides in the people and not in the elected stewards and servants. These other words are additional functions of elders and overseers. They are not additional positions, but are additional job descriptions for the elders and overseers. The exception might be the shepherd when it is applied in 1 Peter 5:4 to the Lord Jesus as our chief shepherd. The elders, shepherds, pasturers, head deacons, ministers, preachers, overseers, meet under the leadership of the senior, that is the oldest or the chosen elder. They do not function separate. They meet the same requirements of the senior overseer or elder. The senior and other elders, etc., are also chief servants, diakonos. It is the same exact Greek word as is used for the deacons, elected servants. In the kingdom of Jesus, he who serves everyone is the greatest, meson, elder, head, shepherd, pastor. However, to make it possible for the elders to spend more time teaching and preaching, they had elders' servants, that is, deacons or elected servants, elected to serve or wait on tables, etc. That did not mean the elders were not still involved in every aspect of serving the assembly, but the under-ministers, waiters on tables, servants, deacons, took on the task and others for the elders, overseers, preachers. The elder, bishop, overseer, and the elders, under overseers, and administrators, who we would usually call assistant pastors. Because the elder is the senior elected servant of the sheep, he is also the senior deacon or servant, and heads the servants' meetings. As overseer, he leads them. He does not rule them, but they do not rule him. The power of the rule resides with the princely priest or congregation, who elected both the elders, overseers, and the elected servants, deacons. But the congregation does not rule over the pastors and deacons. All is done under the chief shepherd, Jesus.